On June 4th, 2025, Riley reached out to me to design her entire website. I was so excited to get this inquiry because not only do I love everything she's doing in her business, but I also could see her vision based on that initial discovery call. So here's the video to share with you how I created her entire website in 4 to 5 weeks and what all was included. So if you've been curious on what it takes to build a website from scratch, then stay tuned. So let me share with you guys a little bit about Riley. Riley is an amazing writer. She actually is a mental health advocate. And when we initially spoke, she was sharing with me that she wanted to create a blog. She owns Postpartum Brain, which is a blog and a website for anyone who is expecting a child, going through pregnancy, or who is just in the motherhood world right now. And she creates these blog posts based on her own experience, but also she has done tons of work and studies to gain so much knowledge about mental health. So I was really excited to hear about her business, and I feel like this came at the perfect time because right now in my life, I am surrounded by mothers. My sister just became a mom this year. My friends are all expecting their first kids, and I really felt like the timing of this project just aligned perfectly. And I was so excited to learn a little bit more about motherhood, mental health, and everything that comes with that. So I immediately knew this project was going to be an amazing fit. Now, Riley was more of a unique client because she actually has an existing website. I would say a lot of the clients that come to me either don't have anything or maybe they don't even have branding, but Riley had her website and she also had her branding taken care of. So for me, that makes it so easy because I'm able to take everything, get some ideas of the content, and start to use that in a new website redesign. But Riley also was amazing and decided to invest in my copywriter's services. So when it comes to copywriting on websites, I really want to make sure that I'm sharing this with you guys because it's what helps me have a website project run so smoothly. If I don't have the copy, if I don't have the photos or the branding, it's really hard for me to get started on a website. So the fact that Riley had all of it was just cherry on top of an amazing project already. But my copywriter that I typically refer my clients to, she handles all of that within her own business. So it's technically me just connecting them and letting them figure out what they want to do to work together. I do think it's so nice to have a network and a community of connections that you can introduce your clients to make sure that they're not only getting an amazing website, but it's actually going to be a long-term just hub for them to share everything that they're about, but also for SEO, for keywords, and so much more. I knew that her investing in copywriting would really help her website truly come to life. So my amazing copywriter Naomi worked with Riley and I was able to get the copy before even kicking off the website. Another quick note I want to share with you guys is that I don't start anything on the website until I receive the signed contract and my initial deposit. My typical payment installments are split into 4 off of the total cost of the project. So I got that initial deposit from Riley and we were locked in to that start date and I was so excited to get started. Okay, so like I mentioned, Riley had all the branding, everything pretty much ready to go for us to start designing the website. However, once we got started, we realized that she didn't want to use stock photography. And I actually really appreciated the fact that she shared that with me up front because I was able to approach the website with the idea in mind that we are gonna have maybe some more textures and play around with a few different colors and possibly even brand illustrations. So I got on a call with Riley. We talked about how can we avoid the photos but still give the website character. So that is when I brought in another amazing designer in my network. Her name is Anusha. We work together quite often. I feel like we've done over 4 to 5 projects together this year where she takes on the illustration side of the project and I still handle all the designing and honestly like the creative direction of the project. So I spoke with Riley. I asked her if she'd be open to adding on a little bit extra to the total project cost to have a library of custom illustrations that will really add that personality to the website. So when it came time for me to step in as that creative director role with Anusha, we brainstormed together on some icon ideas to bring those blog posts to life and really bring to life the values of her brand. So this is what the icons came out like. I was so excited about it. Once I was really starting to see the vision come to life, I knew that we could make this website look pretty epic. Riley approved all the illustrations and it was time to start putting it together. So typically with my website projects, I like to initially design the homepage on Figma. Figma is my go-to. It's where I typically like to build out the wireframe. I usually do a high fidelity wireframe. I know I've been sharing that a lot lately in my videos, but a high fidelity wireframe is more in depth with like the colors, illustrations, and overall how it's truly gonna look once it's built out. Now, I'm not saying my way of designing is the only way to do it. I think there's so many approaches you can take with website design. You could do a low fidelity wireframe and then go and build it out. But for me, I've noticed that doing this high fidelity wireframe and sharing with them how it's going to look visually usually avoids a lot of back and forth revisions once we get started on the development. So this is what the homepage looked like. If you're curious on like how do you come up with like the sections on the homepage, how do you know what to do if you're just staring at a blank artboard, I totally understand. I feel like this kind of comes with time and studying what makes a website perform well or what really makes a website have a great user experience. And for me, I typically always try to think about the call to actions, where we want to guide our users of the website, what they should be going to next. And I think each section really should speak to taking an action, but not in a salesy way. It has to be very natural with it. But this is when having a copywriter help you out is so worth it. I know that with AI right now, it's so easy to just ask it to write a section for you on the website. But I'm telling you guys, working with a copywriter that has years and years of experience, that knows how to make her copy sound different from other people that might be offering something similar, it's so important and it's so worth the investment. So I was really excited to have Naomi's work to play around with on the website. But the reason I share that is because Naomi wrote all this content. She actually listed it out so beautifully for me. So I knew exactly what sections I'd be designing on the mockup. But not only did the copywriting and the overall experience of creating websites help me in terms of like creating this web design, but I also do look for inspiration online. Riley did send me quite a few websites that she liked the look of, so that was super helpful for me to go and reference how other people are laying out the blogs, laying out the different sections. And the most important thing with Riley's website was making sure that the categories of her blog posts were clearly listed out, but in a very in a user-friendly way. We didn't want to list them out and overwhelm the user on the website. We wanted to make it easy for users to search, to click on a drop down and select exactly what they're looking for. And that was the main goal of her website. So this is what the homepage looked like on Figma. Riley was amazing at dropping comments in there, sending me her feedback. And that's one of the reasons I just love Figma, is it's so easy to collaborate with your clients and get that real-time feedback. And I can actually make those changes and she can see it on that same exact link in real time, which just makes things run so smoothly. So once the homepage was approved by Riley, I decided to jump into all the interior page designs, including the about page, the resources page, as well as the blog post page and the overall blog page. I feel like blog websites are unique, similar to shop websites, because you not only have the main blog or shop, but you also have those interior shop and blog pages, meaning that when you click on a blog, you have to see what that page looks like as well. So typically blog websites, shop websites cost a little bit more in the investment because we are doing all of those internal pages that maybe people don't even think about, but it is important to make sure that it looks consistent on every page they're clicking on. So I created all these interior pages. I think they came out so beautifully. I just love having these illustrations. Without those, I really feel like this website would have been missing something. So huge shout out to Anusha for creating these beautiful illustrations and working with me on that to make sure that it looked just perfect for her branding. And I was so excited with how it came out. But like I mentioned, Riley did have her logos, her branding and everything all ready for me to use. So I was able to use that logo. I was able to pull some colors that she already had implemented in her branding. And we actually just added a few additional colors to that color palette to give it a little more life. So that yellow color, the green color, those were additions that we felt would really help have it just give it that pop. I know you guys probably always hear clients say, I want it to pop. That's kind of what we wanted to do with her website. So now that all the interior pages are designed, I get all my feedback from Riley, it was time to start developing the website. So now comes the question, what website platform do you use for client websites, or like how do you go about that? Trust me, I know that's probably the most overwhelming part of working with clients or even designing a website for yourself, is knowing where to build it on, because it's kind of a commitment when you decide to work on a certain platform. You're kind of, I wouldn't say stuck there. I mean, if you're going with like a Squarespace or a Wix Studio or a Framer, honestly, any of the website platforms that are all within the same hub, you're kind of stuck on there. And if you want to rebuild it on another platform, it's going to require redeveloping everything. So I would say that choosing a web platform is sort of a commitment. I always want to make sure I'm asking my clients all the questions I need to know about their website. I want to know how comfortable they are editing a website on their own. I want to know if they're comfortable writing blog posts on different platforms, whether that's WordPress or, I mean, Showit uses WordPress or Framer or whatever it is. I want to make sure that they're 100% comfortable, but I also want to make sure that I understand all the dynamics of the website. If we're going to have really heavy animation, if we want a lot of movement on the website, that kind of helps me make my decision. And I share a ton about website platforms inside of my Patreon. So if you guys want to learn a little bit more about the web platforms I use and how I make that decision, check out my Patreon. I have a link down below for all my YouTube subscribers. You get 15% off your first year or month. It's super affordable and I'd love to connect with you guys. But typically I get all those questions asked in the beginning, so I know exactly where I'm going to be building it, even before I do the wireframing, just so I can keep that in mind, just in case there's limitations on whatever platform we decide to go with. Now for Riley, we actually went back and forth a little bit on choosing the right platform. We were going to go with Framer, but I just wanted to know her long-term goals of the website, and with her posting tons of blogs, I wasn't quite sure Framer would be the right choice for her. I know that Framer allows for like thousands of blog posts, so I do think it would have been a great choice, but I just don't have as much experience on there than I do with WordPress, and WordPress is typically what I recommend for any blog websites. If you guys know, WordPress is actually known for their blogging. That's really how they got their name. Like they really started with having that great blogging platform and system, and I know that she's actually already comfortable using WordPress. So to give us the best of both worlds of having a really beautiful custom design and WordPress for the blog posts, we decided to go with Showit. Showit is not my favorite. I will be honest with you guys. I'm always going to be transparent that I think it's a great platform for really flexible custom designs. If you have a really like unique layout of the design, it's great for that. However, if you want to add like third-party plugins, or if you want to add any coding details or anything to the Showit site to make it even more custom, it's a little bit more difficult. So I don't typically go for that initially, but once I talked to Riley about her goals, knowing what she's comfortable editing on, Showit just felt like the perfect fit for her. And when you do find a client that has those needs, I do think Showit can serve those needs so well. I mean, it really does allow for a custom design, and I knew that everything I created, I could actually even implement a template and just kind of plug things in so that the development part would be very easy for me. So I will say also that Showit is a little bit more difficult with the mobile optimization. I typically have to add in a couple extra days or even an extra week to make sure that the mobile side of the website looks perfect, because it does require a whole extra. It requires doing the mobile side almost kind of separate from the desktop. So just something to keep in mind, but we decided to go with that for Riley's website, and I was starting to build it out, and I'm so excited with how it's coming together. But I feel like we're actually already a little behind on our timeline because we added in those brand illustrations halfway through. So we're about a week or two behind. So I really just kind of wanted to get this going for her and launch everything so that she can start to post her amazing blogs. So here is what the full built out website is starting to look like. I still have a couple pages to finish, but I really feel like this has been such a smooth process, and I wanted to share it with you guys because the reason it was so smooth was because she had the copywriting, and she also was open to investing in brand illustrations, and she was so amazing at communicating with me, giving me her feedback. It vibed so well, and when you can find a client where that just collaboration and overall everything just clicks, it is the best, and it reminds me so much of why I love designing and why I love working with clients and helping all these businesses really really come to life. So this is what the website's looking like. I am so happy and excited for her, and I'm just so honored she asked me to design this for her. But I hope that this was interesting to you to see the full process, kind of summarize, long story short, of how I create a full website from scratch for my clients. But like I mentioned, if you want to learn more about how I design websites for my clients, how I build them on other platforms, be sure to check out my Patreon. I post in there every single week a new exclusive tutorial, and I'd love to connect with you, get to know you, where you're at in your business. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, it would mean so much for me if you gave this video a thumbs up. Also, if you subscribe to my channel below, I know a lot of you guys are not subscribed, and that would truly mean the world to me. I would love to hit 100,000 subscribers next year. That is my goal. That is truly on my mood board, so I cannot wait to connect with you guys more. Hope you liked this video, and I will see you in my next one.